How do you listen in group face-to-face meetings? Typically around a table, but not required. A good meeting host will get everybody to listen to the active speaker, yet a great meeting host will get everybody listening to each other. When everyone's listening to each other, leadership is shared, and that takes time away from the leader or the host of the meeting so they can look at the dynamics and the system rather than focusing on the content. In this example, I want to show you how to code a 10-minute meeting, and these are simply represented by 3 10-minute blocks, and we're going to keep score during this dialogue in this meeting. Now in this meeting, we've got 6 participants, A, B, C, D, E, and F. And as the conversation, a statement is represented by a dot. A question is represented by a question. And an interesting code is somebody who clarifies a question. We're going to keep track of all of these during the dialogue. It's a 30-minute meeting. A starts off, D responds, C responds to D, D responds to C, C poses a statement to A responds with a different perspective, and then C responds to A, and then D jumps in. We're at the 10-minute mark of this meeting now, and the score is the number of participants who have spoken is 3 out of 6. You'll notice that everybody's made a statement so far. There's no questions. The conversation continues with C picking up, D making another point to C, A jumping in, and then E poses a question. The question is posed to C, who responds, yet doesn't clarify the question. A responds again. Now, when I've got 5 in a row, I start to move to another column. But all of a sudden, F jumps into the conversation. F poses a question to A, and we move over there. Then A poses a question back to F, and all of a sudden, we have 2 questions emerging in the group. No clarifying questions. We're at the 20-minute mark, and the score now is A, D, E, F, and C have all spoken. So the score is 5 out of 6, yet B has not spoken at all. The conversation continues. F discusses something with D. D asks something of C. C responds. All of a sudden, we get towards the end of the meeting. F makes a summarizing statement, and we're done. The score at the end of 30 minutes is 5. Now, what's interesting is there is 1, 2, 3 questions, 0 clarifying questions. And if we sum up now, we've got 5, 6, 7 as the score for A, 0 as a score, 5 for C. F has scored 4, E has scored 1, and D has scored 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And all of a sudden, if we add up 12, 23 is the total numbers of dialogues and interactions that's happened in the meeting. Now, by itself, these numbers, they actually mean nothing. They mean nothing at all. Listening and conversation is situational, relational, and contextual. What's noticeable for me is not that the score is 3 in terms of questions and the score is 20 with regard to statements. That doesn't make the ratio good or bad. The question we ask the group is, at the 30-minute mark, what did you notice about your question to statement ratio? The group will find the answer to that. There's no hard and fast rules. Although at the beginning of a project, there's probably going to be more questions than the middle of a project. At the beginning of a team formation, there's probably going to be more questions than statements. So this is how I code how to listen. Do you have any techniques to notice that B did not speak in the entire meeting? Do you have any techniques to draw out from B something that's productive for the group? Remember, as a great host, it's not your job only to get the group to focus on who's speaking. It's your job to get everybody listening to each other. And you don't want to draw B into a conversation. Ideally, you would want somebody in the group to notice that B has not made a contribution. Coding how to listen is as simple as keeping track. It's keeping track of who's spoken, who hasn't, and the question to statement ratio. I'm curious, what's been helpful for you as you notice one way of coding how to listen in group meetings? We'll talk about how this works in video conferencing at a future date. But for now, thanks for listening.